Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for sharing it with your love and your time. It's greatly appreciated. Today's topic is going to be discipline is the roadmap to success. Discipline is the roadmap to success. And one thing about life, if you don't have discipline, you're not going to get far in life. You know, and that's just the beauty with life. And it can be your roadmap to success, or it can be your roadmap to destruction. And when we think about discipline, we think in the format of disciplinary action. How we was taught in school, we was taught to be disciplined, and it has rubbed off onto us. And when it's like, oh, I gotta discipline myself, it's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that, because why do discipline? And I remember growing up, disciplinary action was like, man, that was painful. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't where it was at, so that's not my cup of tea. So I say to you guys that know that disciplinary action, discipline is different from disciplinary action. It's like in the process of life, for your roadmap to achieve and to conquer goals and to get where you want in life, you had to discipline yourself. Picture a bird bright and early in the morning. We see them throughout the day, but we hear birds more often during the day of the morning, during the times of the morning, right? And so with these birds, they have a routine to where they get out early in the morning. I know y'all have heard this familiar story where they say the early bird get the worm. And so with the process of knowing that the early bird get the worm, there was some discipline for that bird to know within that I have to get up early and go out and get that worm, to get that worm. So I want to say a lack of discipline, you're going to lose that life. And what do you mean by that, Rodriguez? Okay, so a lack of discipline, if you don't set place discipline in your lifespan, all right, you're going to lose in life, because that's just like going by guidelines. I know it's a lot of people that listen to, that watches sports, right? And in the process of watching these sports, we see fouls, we see out of bounds, we see discipline on the field. For these guys to perform to the best of their abilities, they had to put in some work to be able to perform the way that they perform. So we look at this and we see discipline right before our eyes for my sport fans. So we look at it in the school systems, that's discipline as well. And with that being in the school systems, they have the principles, to show you, okay, you got to get in line, Also going with life is, if you don't go by these things, you're going to lose. So if you don't be in school, you get a record, it make you look bad, on the field, disorderly, out of line on that field, they're going to shame you amongst the world, and they're gonna make you look bad. You may sit out a couple games, So you gotta have discipline. And when it comes down to like discipline, like in the jail cells, in the jail houses, these people behind bars, some are falsely accused, but majority of them have done an act to where now they have to be disciplined. And God, like, all right, you want to tighten up? Okay, all right. I've been forewarning, but okay, all right. I see you want to just keep on doing what you want to be doing, right? All right. So with that scenario, it begins to where you got to be disciplined, And then another good one too, I can't leave out the hospitals, A lot of the hospitals are slam packed with people that are, sick just because, saying something they just, can't, they just can't, it's out of their control, And with it being out of their control, that's out of their hands. So with that being stated, that just might be a scenario, right? So, but for the people that just like indulging and overeating and things of that nature, bringing this stuff onto themselves, you know, that's an issue. You know what I'm saying? So they landed themselves there by choice, you know. So we gotta keep in mind too, disciplining our health as well, you know, and that could be by choice, you know. Uh, you fast for a reason, you do certain things for a reason, and in life because you want to help your health, you know. And so also with knowing that, you know, it kind of like lands in the hospitals and the people like, oh man, I didn't think about the hospital. Yeah, because you know they are, some people just doing self-reflecting stuff to themselves, you know. So you got to have discipline when it comes down to your health, your body, you know, how, your upkeeping of who you are, things of that nature. So you got to take care of yourself out here, guys. You really got to take care of yourself. And then also, you got to practice discipline and work hard at it because we're not perfect. So that makes it even harder, you know, when you got to go so hard for something with discipline, you know. And that's one of the most meaningful things of life. And I can't miss the meaning of it, you know what I mean, because it's just so magnificent to have some kind of discipline in your soul. And because you're imperfect, but you're working to perfection, discipline helps you, you know, on this journey, you know, from some mistakes that you can avoid by distraction to the brain and the mind that, you know, you react on, that you're like, oh man, that, and you react and you ain't supposed to react. That's when that discipline kicks in. So we want to make sure that we maintain discipline. My camera might be acting a little funny this morning, guy, but hey, we still gonna keep going on with this video. So life demands discipline, and so you can learn. And you, one thing about it, ain't no way around it. And the reason being there's no way around discipline is because it's like this here. Either you're gonna learn or you just gonna stay in a stagnant place of your life. You're gonna stay in a state of your life to where there's no growth, you know. And where there's no growth, you know, that kind of like put you in a bad position, you know. And you don't want to be in that type of position to where you're not learning in life and it's not benefiting you, you know, to the point to where you want to grow and you want to achieve certain things in life. That kind of makes life a little harder for the individual, you know. And that's even like um, in school, you go to school to learn, you know, and in that process of going to school to learn, it's like you really not so focused on the schoolwork, but you're going to school. So at a point of time in your life, it's going to become where a state that where it's like, you're eventually going to get kicked out because you ain't really doing what you need to be doing. And that's just like with life, you know what I'm saying? You can't just live in a home and don't pay bills. You know, it's just rare. You know what I'm saying? That is not going to be the case where you're going to be able to obtain that. You gonna be in a house. So I'm gonna get a house, and just stop paying rent. It just won't. It ain't gonna work. You gotta have some discipline. So discipline too. You know what I'm saying? With like exercising and stuff like that. Some people, you know, they want to exercise, and it's like, oh, well, I want to be in shape, but you're not disciplining yourself to get in shape. You know, so discipline can go on and on and on, and I'm not covering all of it, but it's going to be your roadmap to success. Discipline definitely going to be your roadmap to success. And I encourage each and every individual in the world to grab some discipline and put it in your life. Another great example, because I want a sneaker ball, man. I'm talking about I'm craving a sneaker ball, boy. Woo-wee. I'm talking about I can taste it before I even get it or buy it. So because I'm craving that sneaker ball, that don't mean I gotta go get that sneaker ball. Oh my goodness. Let me say that again. Because I'm craving something and I got a desire for it. I want it very bad. I want that sneaker ball so bad, man, I can taste it before I buy it. Sometimes in life you gotta have some discipline within yourself and say, no, I don't need it. Sometimes in life we gotta reject ourselves from the things that be calling and craving in our soul, where we want to just give it to the flesh, and we be like, nah, I don't need it. I really don't need it. Little self-discipline, you know, little self-discipline with what you're gonna intake and take to the body can help you out a lot. It can really help you out a lot. So discipline is just not a bad thing to where it is like a disciplinary action. It may be painful sometimes because you might be like, man, I got a craving for this, man, and hey, God dog it, man, I want it. But the doctor told you can't do that. The doctor said you can't eat that type of food. The doctor said you just got to eat this here specific type of food, but you won't eat that pork. And so discipline, what I'm saying? Because one way or another, in times in life, you're going to have to obey somebody. Even if you don't want to obey God, it's something in somebody, in some acts of life, you're going to have to obey somebody. Because you don't rule the world. This ain't your world to where you just disobey laws and you are God to where you just rule the world. Like you that ruler. So you got to know that it is God, and that God, one way or another, going to get your attention where you're going to have to bow down. You had a fastest car in the world. And they keep coming up with new ones. And, I used to have it down packed, but they changing it up. And safe as the fastest car in the world, you bought it so you can be going to places as fast as possible. But guess what? They got discipline in the roadways. They got discipline in the roadway. They got stop signs. They got traffic lights. They got crosswalks. They got guards. They got stuff out there to stop you. No matter how fast, how much money you got, I can just buy my way on the other side of town real quick. Discipline, one way or another, you gonna slow your tail down in life, man. Have some patience, man. It just ain't no way around it. That's just how God has ordained it throughout this world, to where one way or another, you might not want to listen to your parents. You might not want to listen to your boss. You might not want to listen to or your best friend. One way or another, someday, somehow, you're going to listen to somebody. You're going to listen to somebody. And so, once we learn that within our journey, and know that we can put discipline on our journey, because we're already acting in it. We're already acting it out. Without self-consciously knowing we're acting it out, but question sometimes why thing like this, why thing like that, or why you can't avoid the course. You cannot avoid the roadmap of life. It's gonna be one way and one way on there. You can keep going against the grain and questioning and trying to make it your way. But I'm here to tell you, one day you're gonna have to bow down. Bow down. You're gonna have to bow down. So discipline is the roadmap to success. And everybody need it, you know. You're never too old, you're never too young to have discipline. You're never too old or you're never too young to have discipline in life, guys. So let's keep that in mind on this Christian journey that we're gonna always gonna need some discipline, you know. Even if you're not a child of God in life still, you're gonna need some discipline. If you ever trying to obtain something, you got goals, you got dreams. If you ever trying to obtain some things in your life, you gotta know that you're gonna have to set some discipline in place to be able to obtain it. You ain't gonna be just ain't gonna be able to get there recklessly. You know, that's just not how it's ordained. And if you can see the recklessness ones that get there, let's take rap for instance, the rappers and people like that. You know, some is very select. Some of them are really going to be able to maintain it in a way to where they're not so reckless. I see one that's really obtaining it very well, and that's 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz, he's a Atlanta rapper, but he obtaining it very well, man. And his obtainship for the way he walking it out as a family man, because he really a family man, and just not so into so much of this recognition out here. But besides that, ain't too many of them out there that just not gonna just be reckless with it. So I say this that know on the journey you're gonna need some discipline, you know, and that's gonna get you each and everywhere in your life. And discipline on the road to success is the best thing you can ever have. And if you go without discipline on the roadmap, you'll see the destructions in your life that will continue to visit you. You'll continue to repeat some cycles in your life that don't feel too good, and you wonder why your life is like it is. And it's not this, it's not anybody, it's you. So keep that in mind, guys. Until next time, God bless y'all.